But there's one thing no self-respecting treasure hunter can do without. And that's a base.
At number 1, we finally have Square Enix announcing on 9th of December having Dragon Quest Treasures released finally on the Nintendo Switch. Now, as far as I can remember, we've been waiting for some gameplay for Dragon Quest Treasures, and come to mention now, we got about 30 minutes of just in-game footage yesterday. Not just that, also that the game will now be released worldwide in both editions. Check it out.
You'll be a great asset.
Hello there.
Or head over to the dormitories and swap your party members around. You can even send teams of monsters out on dispatch missions.
Back soon. Back at last.
If you're lucky, they might bring back a piece of truly exceptional treasure. Don't forget to put your favorite pieces on display in the vault.
Not bad at all.
The base also houses a shop, a pellet factory,
You want something?
All done. Merci beaucoup.
and a cafeteria. It's a one-stop shop for all your adventuring needs. Draconia is also home to the 7 coveted Dragonstones. But dangerous rival gangs are after them too. A whole host of newfound friends. A home away from home.
What's up 君も両ネバノース疾風信頼ましてやばいいざ上等ネバネバエバ
Coming up behind that, we've got D3, or the publishers, coming out and releasing another new trailer for Samurai Maiden. I've actually mentioned this one a couple days ago. In case you missed it, however, this is a fighting sort of halfway Muso style hack and slasher about the life of a young woman from our time right now, 21st century, just in love with just a bunch of other female ninja warrior friends, just getting dirty to slash some demons. Here's the trailer, game set to be coming out December 8th.
ゆるりゆるりと憂いた風が語りかけた無限に舞う銀色の肌颯のごとく良い闇を切るもう朝焼けを待つ暇などないから光を放て非売中にチェックワンツーブレックオンブレックダウンWhat's up 君も両ネバノース疾風信頼ましてやばいいざちょうどネバネバエバ
We need to go. We need to go now.
Now, as pretty much all Resident Evil Switch port games have been released for the past couple of months, only Resident Evil 3 left. That's going to be released in about a week from now. In case you have missed out on the update, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard Cloud is also on its way to the hybrid console December 16, and it'll act as the last one. Nothing much to talk about here except the trailer they came up with, and that the game will run, as Capcom stated, just as smooth, if not smoother, than the console version, which I actually highly doubt that.
You said we play a little game. Now, I've seen everything. What the fuck? What is that?
What the fuck are you talking about? They're dead. They're all dead.
This house has seen more than you can imagine. And it knows.
No, leave me alone.
Wait!
Ethan, don't lose it. It's important.
Moving on, we have Togies. Togies? Togs? I'm not really sure. From roughly 2 weeks ago, this is a, well, as it is stated by developers, a collect-a-thon 3D platformer about some spirit guy trying to get a bunch of red cubes it makes out of the trouble. It's a puzzle platformer, you see. It's one of the innovative ones. The game is very smooth in nature, as you could probably tell, pretty varied in settings, and probably has a lot in common with Journey. Take a look. At number 5, once again we've got Crisis Core Reunion. Now, as I've mentioned, this is a Final Fantasy PSP exclusive that hit the console back in 2007. This is, however, a remastered version of that and will now run in 120 FPS on Switch, probably, they said, I've heard, with updated 3D models, new voiceovers, and some new music arrangements. Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion is now coming to literally every single gaming platform December 12 this year.
Angeal has betrayed us as well.
Angeal wouldn't betray us. Never!
If people had wings, they'd be monsters.
Wings, they don't symbolize monsters.
Your glory should have been mine.
How petty.
In hindsight, perhaps.
What the hell did you do, Angeal?
Well, look who's here.
Depending on what happens, I may abandon Shinra.
Angels dream of one thing,
Please, tell me.
to be human.
Legend shall speak of sacrifice at world's end.
Sorry to butt in, but we have an update on Sports Story.
In this all-out sporting RPG, you'll rise through the ranks of the sports world and prove your prowess on the golf course, tennis court, and soccer field.
Next up, it is Sports Story. Actually, one of the most highly anticipated indie games in the making since 2019. This is, in case you're wondering, yes, the follow-up to Golf Story, with a wider range of sports to go about, playing in parties, well, games like golf, tennis, cricket, mini-golf, and more. Check it out in case you missed it. Game supposedly releasing December 2nd this year.
Hop on a train or helicopter to visit goat-infested buildings, abandoned ruins, and the mysterious wildlands. Or pursue your other passions. Make friends and enemies, go fishing, become a detective, partake in a bit of espionage. There's so much to do.
You won't have to wait long.
Chained Echoes, on the other hand, went on and got itself a release date of December 8th this year, releasing for all consoles and accompanied to a new trailer. Now, in case you are totally new here, this is, as you can see, a 16-bit Super Nintendo style RPG set in a fantasy world where there's a lot of dragons, or they're just as common as birds, and somewhere between all Dragon Quest games, a little bit of Chrono and a little bit of Final Fantasy. Take a look. Moving on, we've got Goonia Monster from earlier this year. This is a 3 vs 1 asymmetrical action cross-platform multiplayer fighting game, now releasing for Switch and other consoles December 1st in pretty much both versions. Nothing really much to talk about here, except, as I've mentioned, this is a party-based game where you go on these little rampages playing as characters called Busters. Take a look.
ウェポンにはマシンガンやショットガンの他に地雷や爆弾、火炎放射器など種類は盛りだくさん。癖のあるウェポンを使いこなして敵をやっつけよう。モンスターの遊び方。ド派手なスキルと必殺の捕食でバスターたちをやっつけよう。ソウルを運んでいるバスターを倒してソウルを奪い返そう。バスターを全滅させるか制限時間が過ぎればモンスターの勝ち。 倒されたバスターはゴーストに。でもまだ終わりじゃない。そのままソウルを運ぶこともできるし、味方に復活させてもらえばバトルに復帰。協力して逆転を狙おう。目指すは優勝。勝ちまくろう。バトルに勝つともらえるコインでキャラクターをコーディネート。お気に入りのスタイルでバトルを楽しもう。
The ground cracked. The ocean roared, and Strandville was lost in the deep.
Following its initial launch, November last year, for Stadia only, at number 9 we've got Wavetale. This is a third-person action-adventure, in case you missed it, now releasing for literally every single gaming platform December 12. Game's a work of publishers Thunderful. This will be another one of their charming little puzzle adventures that's been in the making for the new ports for a whole year now. And to accompany the great news, we got a new trailer too. Now, truth be told, I have been waiting for a good moment to finally mention this one. See, during the Indie World Showcase just a few hours ago, we finally got confirmation that AKA, or Aka, will now release December 15th this year for the Nintendo Switch. Now, this is in case you are new to an action, puzzle, top-down platformer, just about life of some retired red warrior panda named AK, with the aim to just find inner peace. Check it out. This is how the game will eventually look. Coming up behind that, we've got the one and only Formula Retro Racing that will first release for PCs and Xbox consoles in 2020. But one of the more classic games inspired by early polygonal 3D races like Virtual Racing, and also acting as a sequel to its original that will now have you racing in different countries, in fact 8 different countries with a bigger pool of vehicle types. It's the same old gameplay though, except more realistic and more sim-based. Game is releasing December 14th this year. Square Enix announced that Romancing Saga Minstrel Song, the old classic one that's been around for like 2 decades now, would be getting a remastered version and releasing for all platforms December 1st this year. A game that was actually originally released for the PlayStation 2 only more than 1.5 decade ago, and now coming over with better graphics, boosted soundtrack, and some more new in-game content. Check it out. Guys, Devolver Digital developers just came out with the news that Inscription, which is the little card-based roguelike game, one of the most famous games out there right now, is now due for the hybrid console December 1st this year. Well, actually, in case you aren't familiar with the game that first came out for PCs around the same time last year. Check it out. Inscription is a deck-building roguelike with elements of escape room puzzle games and some psychological horror elements, and of course, what it is famous for, a nice little dose of cheating. Here's just in case you missed it. And last but not least, we've got from earlier this year an atmospheric exploration-based sim going by the name Aerie Path of Corruption, in which you technically play as a bird or maybe some sort of spirit, I don't know. You get to fly through different environments with varied scenarios and eventually making some serious decisions, as developers stated. Nothing really much to talk about except the gameplay you see, which I do personally believe is inspired at least portionally by games like Flower, Flow, and even Journey. Check it out, game's releasing December 16 this year.